because its bend is low, I got a 1/4 inch gap at the top, tapering down, looking at it from the back. And up here, I've got this side panel hanging down off the corner where I could not match this CNC cutout and get that corner up in it. It's just because the bend is too high, you know. And that changes the geometry of trying to match this seam all the way to the front, because you're starting outside of the hole. You're not starting on the inside edge. This is all CNC cut to match. You know, so you drop this out, you pull the panel out, and then you bring this edge up to the front. It's not going to match. You know, and then you have issues like this on the other side. So, but this, this thing here, that's where the twist begins. That's where it starts. It's at this hole. Now, or at this keel, if you get a well-bent keel, everything's equal and even. You get well-bent chines, you know, at equal and proper bends. The way they tell you to do it's fine. I don't see any problem with it. You know, even your corner braces don't really even have to be perfect, you know, because this metal, like I said, it's rigid. It's not moving around that much on you. It's pretty stiff. You know, you just put your blocks in, get close to the right height, and this is all, these angles are already set by this flat bar, by these being tacked to the keel. It's just not a big issue unless you're bent wrong. If you're bent wrong, the thing is you're going to block it up if you don't know about that keel. You're going to block it up even. You're going to create this rise on the left side of the boat like I did. Don't even know about that side. I just because I'm just comparing angles. I'm not checking the actual angle. And I don't know what the angle is supposed to be anyway. Even if I, you know, it's like, oh, I'm going to check to see if the angle is proper. It's like, well, nobody gave me the bend specs. So anyway, bad bends really just destroy this job. I mean, if you had a 1/4 inch difference from here to here, I'm thinking you're not really having that big of a bad day, you know, from the center keel all the way out to the outer hull. You know, obviously I've got more than that, quite a bit more. So if you buy one of these kits and you know you have it shipped to you, I would say call Wattscraft, ask them, see if they'll give you all the bend specs, and then, you know, get whatever tools you need to check those bends, and check them every way to Sunday. And if you ensure for yourself, I just wouldn't trust it, that your bends are right, and you know, you can do some simple things like when you're putting the side panels on. You know, if you're looking at your the rail on the side panel after you got it tacked all the way to the front corner, and it's bowed down, it's like, it shouldn't be. It's pretty stiff metal. It shouldn't be bowed down in the front, you know. I didn't know that at the time, but there's no reason for that. You know, it's set by the bends. If anything, you're pulling this outer hole in. You know, it should push up that side rail a bit, if anything, you know. And when I had my whole front end assembled, it was literally looking like that in the front. So anyway, that's my problem. You know, I would say the kit itself, I like the boat. You know, this is the boat I wanted. I would have been perfectly happy with it. No problem at all. But the design's fine. Even the assembly design is fine. I just, you know, I can look at this thing as I'm figuring out my problem and say, man, if that were straight, I'd be golden, you know. But RSR, RS Racecraft did not get me a decent kit. This is sourced from them, this problem. You know, I think I paid about $4,700 for the hull. You know, and that was with the swim deck and a bulkhead. You know, I spent about $8,500 there on extra parts and the hull. You know, and for a product that you're getting in pieces, cut out of metal and bent for $4,700, I don't know, do you think this is acceptable? You think this is a product if it showed up in your front door? You know, hopefully you'd have some skills or you'd watch these videos and you wouldn't do what I did. Because I've wasted months. I've wasted hours and hours and hours of time. You know, not just actually putting it together and taking it apart and putting it back together, but just thinking about it, trying to figure out what's going on here. You know, took me forever. You know, wasted a lot of my time. I'm not going to have a boat this summer. I bought this thing in December. You know, I'm just not. I can't do this full time all summer long until I get this fixed. Right now what I have to do is, being at the back of my transom, I know this whole area right here on my boat is square. I had that rebent. But this keel in the front is sitting like that. So how do I fix that? You know, I already took it to the fab shop and they didn't correct that. Now, the guy's not stupid, you know. I'm pretty sure he's darn good at what he does. And that, you know, if he couldn't correct that front, which he didn't, I tend to think he probably couldn't. Now, at least not without a lot more effort. You know, you're talking about having to jig this up, get the right angles, which means actually getting the bend specs, clamping down the back of this keel on a flat and level, you know, like a fab table that's like 1 inch thick, or just something much heavier than this metal. And then making this conform to the jig to set the angles right and to set them even. So that's what needs to be done to the keel to get it right. Now, without doing that, the only way I can see to fix it without taking it to the fab shop is this being the front of the keel, is build a stand to where, let's see, let's just carry this all the way out to the edge. You know, obviously not to scale here. So I'm going to need to build a stand with set heights, left and right, and level. And then I'm going to have to pull off that flat bar that connects the keel with the outer hull sections. I'm going to have to remove those. And regardless of this keel angle, I'm going to have to set the outer edge of the boat even and level, you know, on both sides. So I have to break all these tacks, which means taking the boat down to stage 1. I can leave the transom on. You know, it's no reason to come off. It's square back there, it's level. So, but then I have to independently support the keel, you know, with the back square and level to the ground. The sides blocked up all the way around to the right height. Cut all these tacks, you know, close to the back. You know, obviously the furthest back tacks don't have to be removed. And independently set this angle of the keel. Set it independently of the keel, you know, clamping it here, clamping it there, having the keel set level, front to back, you know, at least in the center. have these heights set on the stand, which is essentially I'm making a full-size jig. And then wherever this piece hits, you know, if it comes down and it hits the top of this metal, and that's right, you know, then that's where it has to be. But that drop on that side, or even whatever, this is wrong on that side. I don't have any reason to think it's right. But this piece here, you know, so this is the bent chine, and it comes down. If it meets there, and that's the right angle for the boat to match the sides and all that, that's where it needs to be. And so I'm essentially have to fix the sides, build the boat independently of the keel, and attach them wherever I need to attach them for the rest of the boat to be right. So that's the fix. That's you know, that's building a stand, the center supports, outer supports, flat and level, taking the hull down, every tack and every weld I've done, engine bearer assemblies, all the way back to the transom. Everything comes off. And believe me, just doing the front end and having to clean up all those tacks and get all those surfaces even again takes a lot of flipping time, sanding discs, you name it. Now I have to take this whole boat down to the keel to do this. And I have to build a jig for the boat because these angles are wrong. And to get them right, I have to jig the boat separate from the keel and then meet them up at the right angles, wherever that may be. You know, I'm just hoping that this thing isn't so flipping low that this is going to be above the top edge of that metal to be at the right angle. At that point, we're just getting ridiculous. We're already ridiculous for having to build a jig to build your boat when the original design is adequate to set the angles with proper bends. It just turns my stomach to think that this is what I have to do to fix this. And I've proven it. You know, if someone wants to argue, fine. Argue all you want. Apparently you don't understand. I do. You know, I'm sure if anybody out there has experience with this, they should understand. You know, is it reasonable for me to spend months trying to get this together and now have to completely disassemble a boat and just to reassemble it, build a boat-sized jig that holds the keel independent of the outer hull sections so it can set the angles and then attach them wherever they meet up because of bad bends. And then I can move forward at even heights and level angles. And the front will come together just fine. The lid will fit just fine. And you know, if you get down and you look at the bottom of the boat and you're looking at the keel, the left side will be lower and the right side of the outer hull panel will be high. I mean, maybe just pull the transom off, you know, disassemble every single thing and take that back into the fab shop, you know, get the angles from Wattscraft and just spend the money, however many hours it takes them to do it. So, I don't know. It's not in me right now. I've got a rental house up the road, needs 2 bathrooms remodeled, 2 floors to replace. The kitchen needs completely redone. I have an empty rental. I have 3 acres of grass that need to be mowed. My wife's second car needs the left front wheel bearing replaced. It needs to be in the shop. You know, and that's just the top of the list. And I'm in summer. Everything's growing. So, you know, I expected, well, I'm going to block out this month of time or whatever, get this hold together, and then I can come out and do 2-hour things at a time. you know, and maybe I'll have a boat this summer. I can't pull this thing down and do all that. I can't spend that time on it. Well, anyway, hopefully someone learned something from this. I know I did. You know, if you're going to build a boat, do your homework. Don't trust them. You know, if you're going to pick up your kit, figure out all the angles ahead of time. Take the tools you need to measure those angles. Check every bend and make sure they're right. And if they're not, don't pick the damn thing up. It is not worth it. Unless you are an industrial fab guy that has the tools to do this. Or you know someone that does and you have no doubt that they can do it. I don't live in a big metropolitan area where there's just tons of industry like that. So, you know, you're talking, you know, longer than your average metal shop break and thicker metals than they're used to working with. So, you know, I like the boat. I don't have another option for this size of boat. I like the high sides on the boat. I like the thicknesses of the metal. I like, you know, everything about it was what I wanted. You know, at this point with this much work ahead of me, it's like, man, I kind of wish I just drive over it with the tractor, you know, go to another manufacturer that builds these things and get the same kind of boat. Just throw out another $5,000, you know. Maybe I just wait 6 months, save up some money, and go buy a different one, you know. Obviously, I'm not just going to take their word for it when I buy the next one, no matter who it is. But yeah, I'm not going back to RSR to buy another boat from them. Really? Would you? I don't even know if they can get it right. I really don't think so. You know, this is the second boat I got. First one was partially welded hull. Not good. So, anyway. Yeah, I'm going to have to throw it back in the bushes for a while. And probably start up on it in, October. I think that's when the irrigation gets shut off and, you know, the grass stops growing, and I'm hoping I have my rental worked out by then. You know, and maybe by October, November I can dig in. You know, just knowing I got to pull it down to the keel, you know. You know, it'd be great if they wanted to make it right. You know, I know if I was a company that I took $5,000 from somebody and then I gave them that product, first of all, it wouldn't go out that way. But say I just, you know, I was trusting my bend guy and I wasn't checking anything. And I just, you know, it's all good, right? I send it out, guy ends up with this. You know, he proves to me, hey, this thing's screwed up. I go out of business getting this $5,000 back to him. You know, because, you know, what does that make you if you don't? You know, in these videos, you know, I ignored their calls, but they have a channel through Wattscraft to me. And they were in communication with Wattscraft, sending messages to me. I've emailed many times with them, so they should have my email. They want to send me a message saying, we will send you an entirely new kit with everything you know that you've already put tax on. We'll replace all that. And we will check the bends, and we will make sure they're right, and everything is as it is supposed to be and matches up. You know, we'll pick up the boat, we'll drop off a new kit. I would rather start new than have to tear this thing down. Even if I got another bad kit, because then I just flip and measure it all out and take it to the fab shop and say, hey guys, you know, spend an extra $1,000 or something. Can you square this away for me to where I can just take it home and build it? You know, and then I'm just moving forward. You know, this moving backward thing, crap. You know, I don't know, I'm not 25 anymore. I don't do all-nighters on projects. So, anyway. Hope this helped.